Under this Wuque Studio cover, we have a very special keyboard. It is the Freya Ultra Valhalla edition. It's a green keyboard, even though it looks black in most of the pictures, but I think you can see in this video it is very green. This badge, which is magnetic, comes off. Has something written on it that is supposed to mean something like, let hardship flow through you like water and adapt. And on the front of the keyboard, it has more runic letters, which are kind of supposed to be medieval rune type language. And it's ChatGPT says, it says, the name is written upon the raven for the children of battle. Valhalla is for those who drink in the blood of war. So, this is a very warlike keyboard. Even though Freya was the goddess of love and I guess war as well, because everyone who goes to Valhalla is sent there by her. But, hey, got a violent gift for it too. The back of the board is silver PVD. I haven't taken off the protective coating yet, but the center weight is actually just a cutout of the PVD, and then is green as well. But it's the same color as the case, and it's just a regular anodized aluminum. This keyboard has a bunch of features on it. The clock / knob / display in the right hand corner. It adjusts the volume for when you turn it. It's a very hard kind of turning mechanism. It is not loose by any means. It has a click to it, but it's just really pretty stiff turn. The slider on the left also adjusts the volume, and you don't need more than like a quarter a movement of the full movement of the slider to adjust the volume. I think it's kind of odd, but maybe they can change it so that it's a mouse wheel instead of a volume knob, but they haven't been able to do that yet, or no one's done that yet. The knob has a lot of other features, like I was saying. If you scroll up, you can scroll up and you can scroll sideways. Scrolling up takes you through all the settings, so like you can set the weather app settings. The weather is really cool. It shows you current weather as well as the next few days' weather and the relative humidity. Has an air quality index, UV index, and wind speed. It's a pretty cool app. You can put notes on there. You can change the clock style. They have different ways of presenting the time and date there. And then you can set an alarm or a timer, and then advanced settings lets you set the screen timeout, or restart the device. You can see what firmware you're running, or you can reboot or refactory reset the device. There are tons of features on here that could be implemented too, I suppose. There's also a temperature for the GPU and the CPU. And I think this is the disk temperature, even though that doesn't really make sense. But all the information for this screen goes through either the Wuque ID or the Pocket Wuque app on your phone. The Wuque ID runs on your computer, but it has to be manually update the data. And it can't update all of the data on it. You can't apply GIFs using the Wuque ID. I'm hoping at some point in time they improve the software so they can get automatic updates. It also has a word per second counter, even though it doesn't look like you're actually typing words, so it is not very accurate. But it is a cool little toy. And if you're actually typing, maybe it's useful. You can't type more than 240 words per minute, though. And then it shows you what kind of connectivity you have, if it's locked, or This is just a status of the keyboard connections on it. So that's it for the features of this board. The keycaps, I happened to get the Monsgeek M1 V5 TMR on the same day, and I already had a different set of keycaps planned for that. So I took the keycaps off the Monsgeek and put them on here because this has silver accents. Like there's a silver chamfer along the edge of the module here, as well as along the edge of all of the keys and the edge of the knob module. There's also this silver chamfer. So having a silver to black gradient on it kind of goes well. Even though the keyboard is green, it looks black most of the time if you're not in a higher light situation like I am now. This weird shift key came from an SteelSeries Apex TKL because the Monsgeek was a 75% layout, and the shift key is tiny. The same with these keys. You can tell it came from a 75% keyboard. But I have mirror silver keycaps on order for most of these keys, except for the arrow keys, which I have a separate set, which are going to be mirror with a translucent top, so you can see the RGB through the top. The solid silver ones here are going to be like all solid aluminum. So you won't be able to see any of the RGB through them, but you'll see the reflection through the cracks because it's going to be a mirror surface. So those should be really interesting to see when they come in. You can also see the exposed carbon of the carbon fiber plate. There's a 2-piece plate on this keyboard. The carbon fiber goes around the edge, and then the inside where the alphas it's an FR4 plate. So it's pretty stiff. There's a spring mount sort of thing in it, but I took most of the springs out because the PCB actually has pogo springs to connect the knob and the slider. So there's a set of pogo springs here and here, and that's enough to give it bounce. You don't really need extra springs on the case to be able to give it that bounce. My keyboard didn't come with an alignment pin, so I stole an alignment pin from an extra I had that was shipped with my Zoom 65. And on this end, I just put a screw. They'll send me an alignment pin eventually, but until then, this side is completely screwed down basically to the base, and this side is floating on the spare alignment pin. When I get the alignment pin here, hopefully it'll bounce the same as it is on this corner. It has a Yunzii AL75 blue-gray tactile switches because it's a really heavy keyboard. It's kind of like a classic style, and I figured, well, why not make it a classic keyboard? So that's where I'm going with the carbon fiber plate, the FR4 plate, and tactile switches. And with that, here is the sound test. See how it's clacky and thocky? Mostly clacky, but not pingy. There's no ping sounds. Very clean. There's no foam in it, except for the plate foam because it's not a solder PCB. It's a solderless hot swap PCB. So there is that plate foam between the carbon fiber FR4 plate and the PCB, but there's no case foam at all. And it sounds pretty good still. It's nice and resonant. It's pretty loud. It's not that loud, but it has a good sound to it. I really like it.